All right, I think we're live. Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Quick Wins and Cross-Border Opportunities webinar to help you not just to survive peak, but actually thrive in it. Peak seasons gives us this perfect storm, huge demand and intense competition, and quite a small window to actually get it right. So today we'll focus on things that don't take months of IT projects or heavy investments, but just smart, practical improvements that drive results fast. My name is Therese Mucherie. I am the Director of Customer Management here at nShift, and both myself and my team of customer managers speak to our customers on a daily basis to really ensure that you thrive on your nShift journey with us. And with me, I have Josh.
Hey guys, I'm Josh Barber, Solution Architect here at nShift. On the day-to-day, I'm talking to current customers and potential customers of nShift around both their technical needs around shipping and what they're experiencing on a business level and how I can improve that and make sure they're building technology stack that can maximize their day-to-day process when it comes to like shipping, checkout, returns, and keeping the customer informed on their shipments throughout that journey. Today we're gonna focus on how we can take advantage of cross-border growth to both expand our business and why would we do that during peak to deliver wins so that we can immediately get ahead in this peak season. We want to make sure we've got a high impact fulfillment strategy that is giving us maximum gain with minimum effort. We don't want to be losing shipments or losing customers at the end of the day because we're not giving them what they need. And making sure that our experiences are focused when we're talking about cross borders for each of the regions that we are shipping to or serving. And that can be real world examples from the Nordics, UK, Benelux, and the DACH region. And we really want to get started unlocking your international potential.
Great. So why do quick wins matter? When you're at peak, every hour, every cart, every customer really, really counts. And when bottlenecks happen, customer don't wait, they bounce on an opportunity. So sometimes the improvements that seem really small, like showing the right carrier or clearer delivery promises, end up making an immense difference. I just spoke to a customer not long ago, a retailer, who saw their conversion lift by close to 10% simply by clarifying the delivery option at checkout. So no warehouse, no new ERP, just clarity. And as you can see on the screen, Flying Tiger Copenhagen increased their conversion rates by 20% simply by making improvements in their delivery choices at checkout. So what I want you to do now is to just take a minute, obviously, probably after the webinar, and start to think about what's the one bottleneck that you already know is slowing down your customers, or something that is preventing them to go to checkout. No right or wrong answer here. Every business is different. So have a think about it. Have a look at it from your customer's perspective. And if you already know it, maybe you want to check it into the comment section. You're more than welcome to do that as well. Quick reminder, if you do have questions, put them into the Q&A and we'll make sure to answer those at the end of the webinar. But I think that's already written in the comments here as well.
I think when we're talking about peak, we need to make sure that we survive it. And I think a multi-carrier strategy is a good way to mitigate any risk and making sure that we deliver all our shipments throughout peak period. think the old adage of don't put all your eggs in one basket very much applies here. We can see that when we're not even looking at the logistics world. We can see that with cloud computing. A couple of weeks ago, we had an AWS outage caused by one singular DNS change in one singular data center in the US. And that affected thousands of applications, including applications that maybe someone would never think, like the UK tax website, where everyone puts their tax information into, being affected by a data center in the US, managed by a single provider. So both, if we're looking at multi-carrier strategies, we hopefully our carriers are strong and they're very much built to handle this peak period and very much know they have their own strategies in place to make sure they can fulfill all their customers' shipments during this time. But us as merchants or people who are sending these shipments, we need to be aware that we need those fail safes, and being able to split our shipments across multiple carriers can very much ensure that we are keeping that delivery promise, making sure our customers get their packages, and we're not losing sales or increasing customer service calls because customers are reaching out, asking where is my order, when if they were known that we would like promise this delivery date, we could have moved it to a different carrier to fulfill that, knowing that the carrier that maybe they selected in basket wasn't going to fulfill that. And speaking of delivery dates, I think it's really important that we're honest when promoting delivery times in checkout, on product pages, or in email notifications. I think a lot of people, especially, are looking for honest delivery. I think I can't mention the name of the customer, but they were struggling with converting and found out it was because the delivery window they promised was 4 to 7 days, which in some regions that's okay, but in the UK that is a massive time difference. The UK has now come to a point where it's very much expecting the ability to get next business day or standard delivery near enough being like 2 or 3 business days. So when you're offering that large of a window, and I do understand for this merchant, it was hard for them to give a solid window because of how their fulfillment worked from the 52 stores across their region. So it wasn't easy to know exactly what part of a shipment would be and when. But if you're able to just be honest and say, instead of 4 to 7, if it was just 7 days, a lot of people are more likely to convert because they know what to expect. And if you're able to lever some of the tools that certain carriers offer, certain carriers have APIs or integrations that allow you to the carrier at time of checkout to go, okay, I'm shipping this from this location to this location. What is the ETA for this shipment? And if you're able to present real-time ETAs on shipments and have that like location-based logic, you're going to massively improve people's understanding of when a shipment's going to come. And also, when we look at it at the wider team outside of like the e-com and the logistics team, we're looking at the customer service team. We're going to reduce that where is my order calls to the team because they're expecting it and the expected delivery window is realistic. So we've not promised 2 days and it's going to be, we know it was going to be free, and that's causing that where is that order. So it's good to have good clarity, be confident with your delivery windows.
Great. So here's how you can really stand out when every single brand is shouting during these peak seasons. Firstly, make sure that you turn your delivery into a marketing advantage. Show that you're local, show that you know your people, you care about them, you know their story, you know their wishes and their needs specifically. Use trusted carrier for every single region that you're operating in. A little tip as well is to add a fun or even a seasonal message into the tracking updates that can really excuse me, that can really make a very big difference and for you to stand out even more. You need to make returns feel easy and local. We've all heard some horror stories about return, so make sure that you tell the customer how to return their packages and that will make them trust you even more. And then match payment habits. The prices should be reasonable. The way that the customer pays for their packages are very important as well. And this is huge for credibility. You should get a link of the blog that is on the screen here in your comment section as we speak. And something that we discussed, actually, a bit of a good line that we discussed with the customer was that logistics isn't just operations, it's brand perception. So that's something that you can keep in mind, but ensure here with all of these great tips that you differentiate yourself from your competition. Now, if we go to cross-border growth, peak is where many brands focus inwards and protect their local or domestic markets. But what's actually quite exciting is that customers are searching internationally. There's so much to choose from, so they don't just go local, they actually do go internationally. So to be able for you to win those orders, you need to make international feel like they're buying local. So clearly show duties and taxes and use trusted local carriers. We mentioned it before, we're going to mention it again. Local carriers are key here. Josh talked about delivery times. Make sure, first of all, that they're accurate. Time is of the essence, and the shorter the delivery time is in some regions, but we've seen it in the UK, we see it a lot in the Nordics as well. The shorter the delivery time is, the better. Something you need to think about as well is to use familiar payment options. If I, as a customer, am buying a product from France, for example, and I'm here in Stockholm, Sweden, the payment options are not the same in France as they are in Sweden, but I, as an end consumer, want to use the trusted payment option for the Nordics area. So this is particularly important for international businesses. Tracking equals reassurance. And this is, again, very important when we talk about international business, but also for local business. It helps you with delivery times for customers to know where their packages are. And then finally, again, seamless returns. We talked about it on the last slide, but being very clear about the returns, making it easy will definitely increase your conversion rates.
And now, speaking of cross borders, what are we seeing across our different markets? I think we're seeing a lot of change in the UK. I think post Brexit, we saw a lot of merchants close off and start delivering to the EU just because it got too complex, and we saw the reverse of EU merchants not delivering to the UK. But we've seen over the past couple of years that massively increase, and we're seeing like 50% of UK shoppers purchasing cross-border last year, which is really good sign that the carriers and the technology now involved is making that whole process simpler. And it's good in the UK that when either delivering to the UK or shipping out of the UK to EU or the other regions, is that we are always clear about like taxes or anything, or try and bundle those into either the product cost if they're buying from the UK, have a different price list, or include that as part of like the shipping costs and be very clear around messaging around that. And we're seeing massive increases across the board of Benelux, DACH and Nordic regions, just increases in cross-border shipping as these couriers get better and everyone gets a bit more comfortable with the globalization of shipping. And with returns being important, and with these carriers offers and services that make it simpler, because it can be quite complex when we're taking an inbound shipment from, for example, a non-EU country into an EU country, because that's where they're returning it from. These carriers, some carriers offer really nice services that can handle all of the paperwork and make it a paperless trade journey back into your shipping origin country. But yeah, that's the main thing we are seeing, just massive increases, and it's just a great time to just, as much as peak can be high risk, it's also a great opportunity to test stuff because you're going to have that increase of traffic. You've got people more likely to. Yeah.
And if we dig a little bit deeper, coming from the Nordics and speaking to a lot of Nordic customers, what we see is that our Nordic customers actively choose lockers, or the customers actively chooses lockers for convenience. It's easy, it's safe, and usually the price is very competitive here as well. So having the possibility of choosing whether or not the package should arrive at my home or at the lockers, depending on the living situation as well, if you're in a house or if you're in a apartment building, that will vary, but lockers is something that we see is very highly chosen in the Nordics. What we see as well is that carrier switching is quite high, so the flexibility there wins. The quicker I can get my package, the better I will, or the higher the chances that I will choose that particular one. And brands that offer local experience for cross-border deliveries also see strong repeated business, which is very interesting there as well. What about in the UK, Josh?
I think shown a couple of them in the previous slide, but the thing I will add is the UK is slowly starting to uptake in what the Nordics have had for years and massive use, which is the lockers, starting to pop up all over the place with different carriers having them. I think it pretty much started with Amazon shipping, and then I know the Royal Mail is starting to introduce them and some other carriers. I think ship to shop has always been kind of small in the UK, but we're also seeing growth there with all carriers and a lot of opportunities talking about wanting to offer in their checkout like a pickup drop-off map where a customer can see from all the different carriers that a merchant offers all the different spots that they could potentially pick up a package from. And then we're seeing, as mentioned before, like a lot more UK merchants willing to start shipping outside the EU because it's just now become a lot easier with certain carriers, and why miss out on amazing giant market just because it got a little bit complex for a couple of years, and now it's starting, that complexity is still there, but there's a lot of technology and carriers have caught on that if they can simplify it for everyone, they're going to get those shipments. So very much just taking advantage of those carriers that offer those services.
No, definitely. So if you are an organization working in the Nordics or in the UK, the market's ready, the infrastructure is definitely there. So the big question that you can ask yourself is, are we giving customers what they prefer? And that's a quick win that you can get as well from this during the peak seasons specifically. All right.
As we bring this session time to a close today, we will go into a Q&A section in a bit. We've got time. We just want to reinforce what the core message is from this webinar, which is there's power and optimization, do small fixes, and they can equal big wins during peak. So that's the changing the delivery promise to make it more accurate and offering those lockers or multiple carriers to customers. And speaking of multiple carriers, using them to both add resilience to your logistics network to make sure that you can fulfill all shipments, but also giving choice to customers, because there is certain customers, especially in the Nordics, we're not seeing it as much in the UK because UK merchants at the moment don't really offer the ability to select a carrier. It's more the very much the standard service, the next day service, and maybe you might find out what that carrier is after the fact. And I think there is a big sort of going on a tangent here, a big opportunity to start showing in checkout and on the product page what carriers are being used, because certain carriers can get better conversion rates due to their like public persona around how they deliver stuff. And then we talk about campaigns, so make sure you're cutting through the noise and have those, be aware that it is peak and have that messaging around it's peak, we know, and just be honest around what's going on. And then yeah, just take opportunity of going cross border. There's massive growth opportunity there, and it's become a lot easier in the past couple of years, so we should definitely do it. And then definitely when we're going cross border, understand the regional habits. So offering payment gateways that for that region and using local carriers that are very much used in that region to ensure like confidence in your customers when shipping cross border. So what's next? So after this webinar, you'll get an email with this particular webinar, but we'll also be sending out an email, and that all our webinars from the peak season series will be on our website and in an email. You can also have a look at our report on a foolproof peak season, which you can view via that download on the QR. And also now you should get a little pop-up with a simple yes or no question. Once you've said yes or no, it will disappear. And while we let you give you some time to answer that question, we'll have a look if you guys have asked any Q&As in the Zoom webinar.
That's right. All right, Josh, I see one for you. You talked about using a multi-carrier strategy to handle peak, but what if I'm using multiple carriers but allows using to pick their carrier in checkout and most customers pick the same carrier?
Yeah, definitely. See that a lot, especially we're looking at like the UK. The customers are more likely to choose a Royal Mail or a DPD over like an Every or a Yodel or something like that. I think, yeah, it's good. It's important. And I think it's a good that you are offering the ability for customers to choose their carrier. Really good. But I think during peak, and we were talking about it in the campaign slide, add that piece of information that says, due to being peak, we might change your carrier to ensure that we meet your like when you want the package. I think having that piece of message is giving you that opportunity to, if you need to, change that shipment to a different carrier. Hopefully you don't. And normally when we're talking about a customer base that always chooses the same carrier or carriers, it's because that carrier is known to be able to deliver. And I think so hopefully, even if they are choosing one or maybe two carriers, those are your best carriers anyway, because of their reputation. So so that should help understand that. So hopefully it's the good carriers. If not, add a piece of text on the checkout that says like, we might change your shipment just to make sure we can deliver your shipment on time.
Great. I see a couple of more here. One of them is it really worth investing in cross-border shipping, or is it better to focus on domestic customers first? Since we're talking about peak season, I think it really depends on your readiness. But for most retailers, peak is actually the best time to go cross-border. The demand is high, customers are more flexible, and with the right carriers and clear communication about the duties and the delivery, as we've spoken about, you can turn new customers into long-term international customers as well. So yeah, with the right setup, it's definitely worth it. Let's see, let's grab one last one, and I think we might be able, both of us, Josh, to answer that one. But let me go first. What's a common mistake that we see retailers make during peak season? And I think, Josh, we can both agree, as we've spoken about it, a big one is relying on one single carrier. When volume spike, capacity issues happen, and if you solely have one single carrier, that will make you risk delays and even unhappy customers. So using a multi-carrier setup, it's not about risk reduction solely, but it's about giving the customer a choice, more choices, and that those choices directly drive sales and customer satisfaction.
Yeah, the thing I would add is something you said earlier, which is just add clear messaging during peak around what a customer can expect from delivery. So that's either increasing, knowing that your ETAs, your estimated time of arrival for your shipments are going to increase, so display that increased time, or say add a messaging, add a banner saying peak periods, some of our shipments might be delayed. Just be honest, give that clarity, and it will install confidence in your customers and hopefully lead to more conversion.
Great. Time is up. So I want to thank everyone for joining. If you do have any questions, write them in the chat. But I also want to take this opportunity to kind of market our department, the customer management department. So if you do want an expert in the field to have a look at your setup, if you are a customer of ours, please reach out to your customer manager or reach out to us, and we'll make sure that your customer manager reaches out to you so that you thrive during peak season.
Good. Thank you all.
Thank you very much and have a great day.